Joshua Williamson and Victor Bogdanovic begin the secret wars as Deathstroke takes aim at Talia and Ra's al Ghul, who are on the cusp of saving humanity with their Lazarus Pit technology. Joshua Williamson opens up at the big Shadow War event series with a bang, quite literally, as he delivers an issue that sets up everything we need to know for the upcoming issues, and even provides us with some teasers for the upcoming Dark Crisis event he has been prepping for some time. As someone who's only gotten the cliff notes on what's been going on in Deathstroke Incorporated and Robin, I appreciate how new reader friendly this issue was. Williamson gives us enough information for new readers to catch up on what's going on and know what's going on and get invested in the story. A big chunk of the middle of the story is dedicated to Damien reuniting with his father ever so briefly after what seems like forever, and it really has been years. It was a nice moment, but as usual Bruce ruins it thanks to putting the mission before his family. I'm looking forward to them finally getting a moment to hash all of this stuff out between them and what happened to Alfred, and I have a feeling that we'll be getting it in some form in the upcoming issues, and maybe even Alfred coming back, being the Lazarus Pit is a huge part of this story. Vic Bogdanovic continues his fantastically detailed and fun artwork from the Deathstroke and Robin books. Vic has a really fantastic style, really suited for these types of characters, assassins, vigilante type heroes, and his action is always a lot of fun to watch unfold with these characters. Shadow War Alpha Issue 1 was a great new reader-friendly beginning to Williamson's new event series, delivering an exciting opener as well as some really great character moments between Robin and Batman. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10. Shadow War Alpha Issue 1 finds Ra's al Ghul dreaming about his many conflicts with the heroes of the world and with Batman, knowing that the feuds he had with the detective are the stuff of legend, and his mission to save the world was extreme and he has trained others to follow him. Ra's awakens coughing, knowing that he's an old man with nothing left now though. He hears someone shouting outside, grabbing his weapons and heading out onto the balcony, as someone proclaims their skills are unmatched and they cannot be beaten. He finds Talia sparring with Damien in the courtyard below, causing him to stand down and watch from the shadows as his daughter and grandson battle, taunting one another. Damien is quick to remind his mother that he sort of won his recent tournament, but Talia knows that he'll have another chance to prove his skills as she pushes him back. Ra's meanwhile begins coughing up some blood, remembering how the Lazarus Pits are cursed as he knows it's time. In Gotham, a black masked man talks with a group of captured criminals, knowing that Blackgate should have kept them locked up, but instead they were paroled for good behavior, and now they spend their time in a different type of prison. He continues his speech as the criminals disappear and Batman reappears, taking down the vigilante and reminding the paroled criminals to check in with the parole officers in the morning, telling them to keep up the good work. Oracle soon contacts Batman, knowing that there is something he would want to see, sending footage to his cowl. Batman finds it impossible as sometime before, Ra's and Talia turn themselves in for the many crimes they've committed, with the news quickly covering the historic events. Earlier in Nepal, Damien overhears his mother arguing with Ra's about turning themselves in, knowing their family has gone through hell because of his actions, and recently everything was stolen by Leviathan and Manhunter, and she went through it all so she could just get it back. Ra's knows that this is the best route for the family, but Talia refuses to turn herself in, and if they want to come for her, they will face their army. Ra's tells her that they have tried to change the world through violence, and it hasn't worked, and the world is on the brink of another ecological disaster, so it's time to try something else, since they owe that to Damien, hoping his daughter will trust him since she will understand very soon. Later in Washington, Talia and Ra's get ready to turn themselves in at the Makovian embassy as Batman watches from a nearby rooftop, telling Oracle that this is more than some League of Assassin plan, and Ra's and Talia have many enemies themselves, so they need to make sure that they are safe. Damien appears before his father, finding it rather kind of him that he would think that. Batman is lost for words as Oracle tells him that Ra's is moving. She tells him to hug his son, but Bruce can't say anything or do anything, instead turning back to see what Ra's is doing as the man turns himself in to the DEO director Cameron Chase, who offers him a chance to say something to the crowd, as is part of their deal. As Lex Luthor, the Outsiders, and the Totality watch on, Ra's takes to the podium, introducing himself and telling the press that their world is dying, and for years he blamed humankind, and he always thought the Earth needed fewer people, but he knows that this way of thinking led to more enemies for him to defeat, but recently he's seen the value in people thanks to his family. He knows he thought he was the only one who could save the world, and that was his mistake, so he reveals that he is gifting the signs of the Lazarus Pits to the world, since he knows now now that the world is worth saving, as are all of the people. He hopes the people will allow him to share what he has learned. Suddenly, Ra's is shot in the head and killed by Deathstroke, who continues to fire into the crowd, hitting Talia multiple times as Batman confronts the assassin. Deathstroke throws a group of grenades towards the crowd, blowing up a van as Chase demands Talia not be allowed to escape as Robin helps his mother's people get her out of the area. Deathstroke tells Batman that he won't be stopped, and he won't be stopped from making sure Ra's has no body to resurrect him. He presses a trigger which activates a bomb next to Ra's head. Robin races to save his grandfather's body, but Batman grabs the boy at the last second as the bomb goes off, obliterating the assassin's body. In the aftermath, Chase learns that Talia and Deathstroke both escaped as Batman confronts his son, who knows that he could have saved the body, screaming that that's what Batman always does. He finds a way. He punches his father futilely, breaking down in his father's arms as Bruce tells him that he couldn't let him do it because he's his son. Bruce asks him to come home, but Damian won't, wanting to have told his father what he's been up to and how many lessons he's learned and the people and friends he has met. But now he has lost 2 grandfathers because of Batman. Bruce knows that if he was there, he would have saved Alfred, angering Robin, who leaves knowing what his father meant by those words, and that he's going to find Deathstroke and bring him in, dead or alive. Later on in Nepal, the dying Talia is taken to the Lazarus pit but stops her men, not wanting to be dumped into the cursed pits. She calls for a doctor and tells them to send out the call and tell the shadows to come home. Talia assembles the Demon's Shadow group of supervillains, telling them that they are going after Deathstroke and his family and anyone who has ever worked with him or tried to protect him, and they will kill them all. At Deathstroke Incorporated, Deadline returns with Prometheus, angered at what Slade did to Ra's since he went back on his word about making a secret society and staying hidden. He soon finds Deathstroke sparring with his son Respawn, as Slade demands to know what Deadline thinks he's going to do to him. Deadline demands to know what Slade was thinking when he began making moves, but Slade has no idea what he means. So Deadline activates a newsfeed showing him that Deathstroke has killed Ra's al Ghul. Slade knows that he's not worn that particular armor in years, and this was the work of an imposter, but it's not the ones who toyed with the Justice League recently. He does know that the moves the man made look familiar. He says that he's been at the base for 3 days training Respawn, knowing someone is setting him up and they need to be ready, but it's too late as the Demon's Shadow assault the building, calling for the death of Deathstroke.